What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Yesterday was something else because there was a massive Pokemon leak that took place. I know we've heard of rumors and stuff. It's always little things. This seems to be like everything. As far as we can tell, and before adding it to Newswave, I took a look around and asked quite a few people kind of behind the scenes about this, and everyone seems to agree that this is the title. These are the games, again, games, because there are two of them, that are showing up, and it looks like it's this year. We're going to talk about all of that, and I guess the effect that it seemed to have on the internet, because if you were on the internet yesterday, you had to have seen this, because it was everywhere. It went crazy. But first, guys, let's get into some quick news as usual. Rage 2 did have its gameplay trailer debut. We had the cinematic announcement trailer the day before, and then yesterday they had the full gameplay trailer. So far, I like the splash of color. It seems like it has more character than the first one, which was more of a graphical showcase than anything else. And the second one, I think, is at least more interesting looking. But it's not even slated till 2019 anyway, so it's not coming out, as far as we can tell, at the end of the year in 2018. It's just going to be out sometime, I guess, next year. So they're just getting the announcement at least out, and then I'm sure we'll see more from Bethesda and Avalanche, actually, interestingly, for Rage 2. So I at least think it looks better than the first one, to be honest, and we'll see what other chances they take with their gameplay. But so far, it's so good on Rage 2. Also, we found out that Fight Night Champion is now backwards. It's going backwards compatible, which is great. And it's going to be for Xbox One users. So we'll see if we get any upgrades or anything with Xbox One X. But there you go. There were a lot of people, believe it or not, asking for Fight Night Champion to go backwards compatible. And there you go. It's now backwards compatible. You can go pop in your disc or you can download it. And I would just check out Major Nelson and the Xbox blog where they kind of detail this stuff as they go along. And the Zone of the Enders 2 remaster did get a release date. It's coming September 6th. And that's the one that's going to have like 4K assets, so it'll look, I guess, better and everything. And it's going to have a VR mode. That's the one that's like Zone of the Enders Second Runner Mars with like an upside down A from Konami. So if you're a fan of Zone of the Enders and you think it looked like it'd be pretty cool to even do in VR, which I could actually see a case for that. I think that could be kind of neat. That'll be coming up later this fall in September. So it looks like overall it's going to be a pretty fun holiday so far, and we're not even at E3. So things are going to pick up pretty drastically here, like I'm saying, in the next couple of weeks. So for today, guys, let's get started. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday with Pokemon. So yesterday, a post was made on 4chan, and I didn't really think much of it because when it first popped up, I said, oh, okay, yeah, it's 4chan. However, I will at least say, real leaks do come out of 4chan. The problem is, I saw this in the comments the other day when I talked about 4chan as being like, oh, it's 4chan. The problem with 4chan is there are so many obvious fake leaks that it's hard to take any of them seriously. So, of course, realistic ones will be lost in the mix. Well, a leak came out, and it appears like everyone is running with it to the point where everybody online started freaking out. And that is, we did get two titles. We kind of have an idea of what this Pokemon game is going to be based on these rumors, and it did not go well with a lot of people. We're going to talk about why. We're going to talk about some interesting integration they're trying with a whole nother Pokemon series. But first, the titles. Now, the logos, I could not confirm with anyone if they were the actual logos that were shown. They apparently, to me, look kind of like fan art, but according to everyone I talked to, and I talked to a lot of people, the titles are correct, or at least the premise and the titles and everything are right. And that is Pokemon Let's Go, and there are two different versions, Pikachu and Eevee. Now, before you say, no way, Pikachu and Eevee, really? From what we're seeing, this appears to be a reboot, or at least them going back to Kanto, and it seems to be a play on Pokemon Yellow. And again, before people say, oh, really, that's happening? Well, if you really start going back and taking a look, you're going to realize that Game Freak, who is not good at keeping secrets very easily anyway, and they love teasing this stuff, go back and take a look, because Matsuda from Game Freak has actually been showing a lot of pictures with Pikachu and Eevee together, and no one really thought anything of it. And now that we get this revelation, people are starting to connect the dots and put the puzzle pieces together. Also, go back to that leaked screenshot, supposed screenshot that was heavily blurred, and apparently the perspective was all over the place. But if you take a look at the character, Eevee is actually on their head. So I guess we're going to get to a point where two different versions come out, and you have a Pikachu edition and an Eevee edition. Eevee seems like an interesting Pokemon to put on the front, but I do know Eevee's pretty popular, and of course has all those evolutions. I'm curious if Eevee will have all the evolutions or just a few because they're going to Kanto. I assume it'll have pretty much all of the features that we've known from up until the most recent Pokemon games, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, but we'll have to see about that. Also, if you remember, Pixelpar was stuck doing just images because they were waiting. They made a bet. They're saying, oh, we're going to hear about it soon. They didn't in the time frame they gave, so they were stuck drawing everything, which, okay. But they decided to put out a video that they had posted, or at least uploaded on, I believe it was Vimeo, what, three weeks ago or something? It was weird. And it actually goes through, and I guess was trying to pull like that twist ending Sixth Sense thing, and they go back through and they and they detail all of their drawings and show what they all meant and what they were pointing to. And yeah, they were all pretty much pointing to these titles, this supposed realistic leak, I guess. This is what's happening. So again, some people don't believe it, but a lot of people, the prevailing belief right now is that we are getting two different versions. One is Pikachu, one is Eevee. It's Pokemon Let's Go. And the biggest thing that a lot of people are concerned about, and I guess kind of understand why, apparently it's going to have some sort of integration with Pokemon Go. Specifically, the Let's Go, I guess, title is what's confusing people here. And I don't know how heavy amounts of integration would take place. The Switch does not have a GPS function, right? It's not able to communicate with cell towers, so it can't go outside and keep a connection unless you have a hotspot, and that is them assuming this, so they wouldn't be able to build it in. Now, it does connect you can maybe connect to your phone, I guess. There's a lot of things that I don't get there. I think the only connection is going to be probably through the name, Go, and probably capturing Pokemon might be closer to what we have with Pokemon Go. You take the Pokeball, you swipe it up, and you catch Pokemon that way. I don't really know how you do it in dock mode. Just let us throw our Joy-Con against the wall. That's fine. Oh, snap! It's Pidgey! Did I get him? More Joy-Cons for Nintendo to sell. But I'm curious how they will do that. If they do anything gimmicky, my only request is that we can turn it off. Right? Remember Star Fox came out, Star Fox Zero on the Wii U came out, people didn't like it because of the motion controls. If you were able to turn those motion controls off completely and just use normal controls, I think a lot of people would have been fine with it. Honestly, I think they would have been like, oh, okay, cool, it's Star Fox, this is good. But it suffered because of that. So my only concern is that you cannot turn that off, and the gimmick is just by default, and that's it. So hopefully they can figure that out as well. And I guess the last thing is, when are we going to hear about this game? Well, I can tell you it's probably not this week, okay? More than likely, it will be next week. Now, I guess plans can change because this leak is out there, everything seems to line up correctly, and maybe they move stuff around and move stuff up, but I don't really know why they would. If people know about it, there's no real point in, I guess, jumping the gun and doing this whole presentation because we don't really have a good look at the game either way. Like, we have a blurred screenshot from a weird perspective, right? We have no actual gameplay footage, none of that. So they still technically have everything covered. Everything's still kind of confidential with that. We just kind of know the premise and the titles, if these rumors are to be believed, which it seems like everyone who's, I guess, behind the scenes believes this to be true, whether it's the people who are really into the Pokemon games or just the people who are, I guess, quote-unquote industry insiders. It seems like everything has come together here, and this appears to be very real. But I always tell people, there's always the chance that there's an elaborate ruse in the background by the Pokemon Company, or Game Freak, who knows, right? So I guess you never know. Is Game Freak that clever? Probably not, but you never know. But it's interesting to keep an eye on this and see what's going on with the internet and how everyone's reacting to this, because there are some people who are pretty disappointed, even though we technically don't have anything shown or announced yet. But keep your eyes and ears open, because honestly, with this running around, even if it's not true, they might want to just stamp it out completely and actually show us what they're really working on. If it is true, well, maybe they'll just say, okay, you know what, let's just show them. So be ready at any time, because seriously, they could just say, hey, join us for a direct next Monday or next Tuesday or tomorrow. This is the way they work. Next up, let's talk about another leak. This one's actually pretty cool. It's pretty clever, I think. And that is an accessibility controller that was leaked. Everyone was talking about. This appears to be Microsoft creating a controller that will work well with gamers who have a disability of some kind and are unable to use a standard controller. And what's really cool about this is it appears to be very customizable. You're seeing the controller here, 2 big buttons there, right? The D-pad on the left, a few other smaller buttons, and apparently on the top, there are a number of ports that are able to communicate or work with different devices that people with disabilities would be using. This is a great idea by Microsoft, by the way, an awesome idea. I really like it because, of course, it could bring in people who maybe have been frustrated trying to play games in the past and they just can't. The more people that can play games and enjoy it, the better. I absolutely love this idea. I hope that like Sony and Nintendo try to do something like this as Microsoft goes forward. And this appears to be something that's going to be shown at E3, maybe not on the main stage, but at like a booth somewhere and just kind of announced in the background. But I love this idea. I think it's great, and I really do hope that Sony says, okay, yeah, this is a good idea, let's get in on this. Nintendo gets in on it, and then they just all have accessibility controllers that people can use if they need to. And again, just more people be able to play games and enjoy the hobby, so I'm all for it. Then our last bit of news, let's talk about a game that's had a pretty storied development, and that is Stalker 2. If you're a fan of the Stalker series, well, you've kind of been left out in the cold for a while now. I remember Stalker 2 was announced a long time ago. This it was 2010, and then they kind of talked about it again, and it got canceled, and again, and then it got canceled. Well, a website went live, and yes, Stalker 2 appears to at least be back for now with a release date, get ready for this one, of 2021. 3 years from now. Yes. So, plenty of time to cancel it again, I guess. I hope this does come out. The Stalker series, while kind of, I guess, a niche following at this point, was a pretty cool idea. It was a pretty cool series that I remember playing on Steam for a while. It was on PC. It's pretty cheap now. I think you can get them pretty easily. Very difficult games, though, honestly, when you play through them. But it has a cult following. Now, there were a couple releases so far that have actually come out, I should say, ending with Stalker 2, which is the one we're talking about now. Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, Stalker Clear Sky, and then Stalker Call of Propriet. Those are all ones that have released in the past, and it ended with Stalker 2, and then it was just canceled over and over again. But it is happening, apparently. GSC World Publishing was doing it, and yeah, I guess they're bringing it back, and here we go. It's Stalker 2 is coming back. So if you're a fan of the series, I guess get excited, but I guess don't get too excited. I'd like to tell you it's absolutely coming out, but based on the history, I can't guarantee anything, obviously, because it could be canceled next year based on their track record. But hey, get excited if you're a Stalker fan, because it randomly popped back up in the news with the website launching, and at least for now, they even have press contacts and stuff for info, so I guess it's happening, we'll see. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about all the stuff we talked about today. Yesterday was pretty much completely overtaken with Pokemon. Seriously, everybody was in on this thing. Everyone was eyeing it up. Not a lot of smaller bits of news like went over in the beginning, and then Stalker, and then just popped up out of nowhere. But for the most part, everyone was talking about Pokemon, and I think everybody at this point is anticipating heavily the announcement of the first home console version of a mainline Pokemon series, and I think that's why it's so exciting. But let me know what you guys think about this current rumor, this current speculation that everybody seems to agree on, and let me know if you like the idea, or if you are maybe frustrated with the idea of Pikachu and Eevee being on the front with Return to Kanto. Maybe you wanted something completely different. Maybe you're getting nervous because that screenshot that we saw prior might end up being right. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. What do you think about the names too? Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. A lot of people weren't feeling that name. Let me know. What about Stalker? And then the accessibility controller. Let me know about all that, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.